Welcome, guys, to another edition of What's Poppin', the podcast. I am super excited to be joined by my brother from another mother. This is Curtis. Kurt, tell everyone who you are and what you do.
I'm Curtis Price. I do a lot of stuff.
That is true.
I am the founder of CrossFit Laurel in Laurel, Maryland. We are a CrossFit facility that's been open for, it'll be 10 years in June. I also am a licensed realtor in Maryland, and I am currently in the process of finishing my first self-published book. So I'm a soon-to-be author. Yes,
so we're going to talk about all of that, but let's first start with CrossFit. So Kurt and I go back about 8 years now.
Yeah.
It's been 8 years. And but tell everyone about CrossFit for those that don't know about it, and then we'll talk specifically about CrossFit Laurel.
All right. Well, CrossFit is, in a nutshell, it's a functional fitness kind of training regimen. It specializes in not specializing. So in our kind of world, the routine is the enemy. So it was founded back in like 1971 by...
I didn't know it was that old.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the CrossFit itself, Greg Glassman started it a long time ago. And then over the years...
It's evolved.
Yeah, kind of. So it's grown. There's quite a bit of, we call them affiliates, or boxes around the world now. It's an international kind of thing. It's wild because when I started, there were only 2 CrossFits in D.C., and now there's probably like 40, you know.
Wow.
So it's experienced a lot of growth in the past 5 years. Some of that has to do with the CrossFit Games, which you can kind of see now on ESPN. Is airing it. For me, it's kind of wild because when I started CrossFitting and doing the workouts and whatnot, the CrossFit Games really didn't exist. They just started. They were at the ranch, so it was literally like pay money, show up,
and
do workouts,
CrossFit,
drink beer afterwards, and cook out.
And that was it.
That was it. Now it's like ESPN.
Yeah, it's a whole production.
It's pretty cool. I mean, for me, it's wild to just see how it's grown, you know, in such a short period of time as well.
So CrossFit Laurel is owned by you, your brother, and your other member, Brian.
Yeah, my other partner.
So how did that come about? Why did you guys decide, to open a CrossFit location, and how did that all come about?
Well, it kind of came about, I started playing around with CrossFit on my own. So rewind this about 15 years ago. So I opened up one of the first low-carb, low-sugar stores in the country, let alone it was the first of its kind in DMV. It was called Whoa, That's Low. So it was
That's cute. Okay.
Low-carb, low-sugar store. So in this process, at one point I had 2 locations. Then I had the one in Rockville. We were consolidating everything down. Things just weren't, the industry changed. Long story short, I had about 8 months of time that I was closing the one store.
Okay.
And prior to that, I was a big boxing, mixed martial arts was kind of my event and what I really enjoyed doing. That was like how I would work out.
Okay.
So I couldn't go to the boxing gym and train because I was always in Rockville ripping and running. So I found this website called CrossFit. And what really attracted me to CrossFit was the actual stance it has on sugar and nutrition.
Okay.
And it was kind of crazy because I was sitting in a low-carb, low-sugar store, and I found this training site that their whole kind of, methodology, their whole thing was like the Atkins diet, zone diet. The paleo diet was actually very new then.
Okay.
It was nowhere near like what paleo is today. But I was in a store that supported that, you know. So for me, that's what really had me like, let me look at this more, you know. So I started playing around the workouts. I met, some of them have names, which I know you know. I met this one lady by the name of Cindy.
So to put it in perspective, I'm not just randomly calling females some of the workouts are called females.
Yeah.
Cindy, Fran, hate these hate them. I'll let you talk.
So in our world, we use, so Greg Glassman was kind of like, only a female would have you laid out on your back, out of breath, not knowing kind of like, you know, what you're doing.
Your top from your tail.
So the actual names, kind of the cool thing too is like, so Cindy. Cindy consists of 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats, so just your body weight.
Which doesn't sound that difficult.
No.
And it's over what, the course of 15 minutes or something like that?
It is a 20-minute.
20-minute AMRAP, yeah. So it's as many
rounds or reps as possible in 20 minutes.
In theory, you're like, 5 push-ups, whatever, that's totally doable. Says the first 4 rounds.
So I met Cindy. I tried her out. We went out, and
She
the
effed
next
your life
2
up.
days, actually 3 days, at the time I had my great pooch, Mr. Marley, and I had to go down 4 flights of stairs, and my legs, I dreaded sitting on the toilet. I mean,
it's real.
And it was only 20 minutes.
Only 20 minutes.
Only
of your own body weight.
Yeah, no lifting, anything, just what you carry around naturally. So I was kind of hooked. You know, I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is pretty wild. Like, so let me start playing around. And this was at my, like, apartment gym. I had none of this crazy equipment you see now. So 8 months went by. I went back to my boxing gym because things shifted. Now I could actually go back in there and train again like I used to. And so I was in on a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, and the gentleman helping my coach out was new.
Okay.
He thought I was new. And so I could tell he wanted to show out at the end of the class, and he thought like he was going to, like, you know.
Show you up?
Let me show everybody what I can do. And needless to say, it didn't work out for him. I didn't remember enough moves to submit him or tap him out, but I remembered enough not to get submitted myself.
That's something.
And literally I'm rolling around with this guy, and I can just hear his ass starting to breathe heavier and heavier.
And you weren't.
And I was like literally, you know, tussling around on the ground, and I was like, CrossFit. I was like, this stuff, you know, CrossFit. He ended up tapping out because he was tired. And that was my Kool-Aid guzzle moment of CrossFit, because it actually functionally applied. It wasn't that I walked into the boxing gym and looked swole up diesel. I mean, pretty much looked in a way the same, but the functionality of the fitness training, it proved itself. So he was like a live situation, and it worked. And so from that, I just started telling people more about it. I ended up getting my level 1 certification with my brother. We actually got our level 1 certification at the same time. And then it just, because I just closed my low-carb store, I wasn't really in a rush to start another business. You know, like a little burnt out in a way. Entrepreneurship is a lonely, it's a lonely road. So it just started to be this thing that just organically started growing. At one point, I actually wanted to do cage fighting.
Really?
And I was training to fight, and then more people were coming in to try CrossFit.
Okay.
And it was kind of this, like, I also had age. So I was starting to get older, where I'm like, you know, I'm starting to get a little too old to actually fight. Like, I don't know if they would, you know, if they would let me, you know, I'm like, you know, if they would really let me or how it would work. So it just started to present itself where, you know, I could try this to create a business. And that's kind of when things got a little bit more serious from a business standpoint. But it has still been like this organic growing thing. You know, I mean, you were literally in like the first room. If you walked in there, I mean, it was crazy how.
So the OG room, like,
it was
to
raw.
see the elevation of where they are now is, I'm so incredibly proud of them, because originally we were in the back room at the Boys and Girls Club in Laurel. And it was this big. They probably had, like, I don't know, a couple pull-up bars. And
I don't know. We didn't even
have
pull-up bars.
No, we didn't even have that.
You had to do burpees and replace the pull-ups.
And there was a random pipe in the ground. Remember that you had to be careful for?
Yeah,
it was like the bathroom was a little sketchy. Like, there was a lot going on, you know.
It was
and
very.
Then, it was very. So then they moved from the back room in the YMs in the Boys and Girls Club to, like, kind of one of the front rooms in the Boys and Girls Club. We were there for what, about 2 years?
About.
And it was bigger, and they had, you know, they started buying equipment and stuff like that. And then they jumped out there and they moved to a whole new location in Laurel, which technically you moved again, but it's still in the same place.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. They have all this equipment, and it is the one thing that I always say about CrossFit, how I separate you guys from everyone else, is, to me, like, when people hear CrossFit, they think like drill sergeant, like, you know, like in your face, like, you know, and that doesn't seem welcoming. And it's so different at CrossFit Laurel because it's more of a family environment, and I feel like everyone is so supportive and so encouraging, and it's not me against you or me beating your time. You know, it's really just me doing the best that I can. And they've been amazing. If you know anything about me, I've had surgeries on these wrists and these feet more than a little bit. But they always accommodate. They always like have a workaround for me. Like him seeing me with this on today, he's like, again? And I'm like, yeah, again, exactly. Because that's kind of our usual. But they always make these accommodations for everyone. And it's so much of a welcoming, loving environment that I don't think is anywhere else, you know, and I've heard horror stories of CrossFit, you know, and I feel like it's so important to tell people, and people come from all over to go to CrossFit Laurel because of that environment.
And that's kind of the, I guess it's more of a reflection of kind of how we are, you know. I'm an adult. I damn sure ain't going to have nobody screaming in my face, telling me to, the work, I mean.
Workout is hard enough. It's going to kick your ass. Like, you ain't got to yell.
Let me be clear, too. The workouts at CrossFit Laurel, we bust your ass. Like, we get it in. We get it in.
I've been known to leave. We've all been known to leave what's called a sweat angel. Yeah. So if you think about a snow angel, if you've literally left all that you have on the floor and you lay there after you finished your workout, like in whatever position you are on the floor.
Peel yourself off the floor.
And you're there until you can have muster up enough energy to get up. We've all been there. It's real. Yeah.
It's real.
It's going to kick your ass.
Yeah, it is. But it's the environment is, it should, and that's how fitness should be. It should be fun. You know, now what we do at CrossFit Laurel isn't a perfect fit for everybody. But that's the thing. I mean, you find a spot, you like it, you like the community aspect of it, and then you're going to be more prone to go as well, which also is going to keep you kind of on track with your goals, blah, blah, blah. But that's kind of just been this natural growing organic thing that we've been doing. At times I sit back and it's kind of, you know, for me it's just kind of wild to be like, you know, to see where growth. It's at and to see like folks on Instagram. Like I may not be, you know, like them, but I'll see feeds of like, wait, that's CrossFit Laurel. You know, like in the search thing. You know, I'll just be looking through. I'm like, wait,
I know that.
That's CrossFit Laurel. I'm like, how? You know, so for me, I love it. I'm a big diehard CrossFitter. I think everybody should try it at some point.
I have had girlfriends that I've brought to CrossFit because like I love it and I rave about it, and I've had girlfriends that to this day are like, "F you, Curtis," like I'm not coming back. Like Shug definitely will never come back. She'll come for a party, but she is never coming back to that gym. She won't do it.
I got nothing but love for Shug. It's all good. It's all good.
It's
but at least
real.
She came in and tried it.
Exactly, you know, but yeah, not being able to sit on the toilet like for like days. I mean, it's like it's serious.
And
it's really real.
It was just your body weight too. You know, just your body weight.
All right, so let's talk about this book.
Yes. So the book has been something I've been working on
for years.
For a really
years. I feel like as long as I've known you.
Really long time. So the book, I came up with this concept of writing a book that was going to be very different from what you see in your bookstores or
regular health food section.
The typical kind of like, let's lose weight in 10 days by just
detox this,
just eating bone broth and like just crazy stuff that you see out there. And it's just like, you know, so growing up, I don't know if I mentioned, but my grandparents opened up one of the first health food stores between DC and Baltimore back in 1971.
Okay.
So I literally grew up
in it
around vitamins and organic food and health food stuff. Pretty much my whole life I've been around supplements and whatnot. So with that, I've had a lot of like interesting personal experiences dealing with just people, you know, all kinds of people from different walks of life, people with cancer, just different people. So having the low carb store, when I opened that up, that whole experience leading up to me even opening it changed my life. I was around organic juices and all this stuff, and I never paid sugar any attention. You know, it was organic, or I knew I was eating what I would consider healthy, but until I started to really look at labels, you know, I just didn't realize how much sugar I was consuming.
Everything?
Yeah. So in the low carb store, you know, I really read a lot. I still read. I love reading. Reading's great. It's fundamental.
It is.
It's fundamental for everybody. But I just started reading a lot about sugar and looking at its history and how it's impacting and affecting us, especially within the minority community. I mean, it's a huge problem. Like, it's killing thousands a year. Like, it's bad.
Right.
And we really don't give it the respect that it deserves.
Well, is it because the sugar manifests itself in other things? So like it'll give you signs of cancer, or it'll give you, so you're not really attributing it necessarily to the sugar?
Well, I think that, food is really an interesting thing to look at with humans. So if we just met off the street, we could talk about politics to a degree, depending on what party you might be. But we could talk politics. We could talk sex. We could talk about anything, just meeting. But if I'm like, why are you putting that chip in your mouth? Do you know what that, you would immediately
get defensive,
and we could end up fighting over, you shouldn't eat that. Who the hell do you think food is really wild. Like, and
that's true.
It's extremely powerful, So with that, I wanted to kind of come at it in a way that isn't that typical weight loss book. And so I started researching and just looking at a different kind of lens to hopefully get people to look at what they're eating, what they're consuming, how they're living from a different perspective.
Okay.
And in doing that, I came up with something that we've all experienced, I'm sure. Eating a big meal, and then you start nodding off, and you got the itis.
Yes, Lord.
So my book is called The Itis Revealed.
Okay.
So essentially, I'm uncovering what the itis is, but for me, the neat thing is I'm essentially looking at sugar's role through history. That's our past, looking at our current present situation, how it's impacting us today. Okay. And then the future, how we can kind of break free of this addiction.
Which it is. It is an absolute addiction.
It is. And then how to really live a healthy lifestyle. We were talking earlier, that's the real, for me, I think, I have a very unique growing up experience and I'll see people from college or big shout out Bowie State University.
Yes, he's BSU all day long.
I'll see people from college and it's just like, I look the same. It's like.
But they don't.
No, some of them, some folks, homecoming be a little, yeah, it's different, yeah. But that's a whole nother.
But how do you, so the thing is, like, life happens,
sure,
you work definitely. A lot, you have kids, whatever. And there are people like Angie and I were talking about it earlier, like, our lifestyles are a little bit crazy, we're on the go. Like, how do you help someone who, I'm not trying to give up my soda. Like,
sure.
Curtis has been trying to get me off the soda for as long as I've known him, and it's never good. He was like, try this sugar-free stevia, whatever the hell it was. It was disgusting. And he was like, it tastes just the same. And I was like, no, it doesn't. And it didn't. But how do you, like, what are some of the steps people can take to, because one of your favorite expressions is little hinges swing.
Yeah. Little hinges swing big doors.
So make little changes in your diets or your lifestyle to affect change over the course of time. Yeah. So with someone whose schedule is on the go and they maybe can't meal prep as well, or they can't,
I don't meal prep.
You don't?
Hell no, I ain't got time to meal prep.
Really?
I got a 4-year-old, a 7-year-old. I ain't meal prepping nothing.
Okay.
And so that's kind of that's kind of my different kind of approach to all this. I don't do, crazy stuff. Not crazy stuff. You have people that weigh their food, meal prep.
Right. And who has time for that?
But if that's your thing, thumbs up to you, buddy. I'm not doing it.
But us regular people.
I ain't got time.
Right.
I'm not going to do it. So, going back to the little hinges swinging big doors, if you look at making one tweak to your regimen, in America, we're so immediate gratification. Put it in the microwave, push the button, I can eat food now.
Yes.
I get people all the time, I need to lose 20 pounds or 40 pounds in 3 weeks. And I've actually told people, like, well, you're not going to do it here. We're not realistic with what we need to have happen. So part of the book is to start to make you look at things just a little differently.
Okay.
If you eliminate, just say you love French fries, and you, which I still do, and I love wings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a wing guy. I love wings.
Are wings bad for you? They can't be bad for you.
Protein,
Okay.
Protein. Now, if they're breaded, the carb count, blah blah blah. But so just look at wings.
Don't steal my sunshine, Kurt.
Let's just look at wings and fries.
Okay. Simple.
Wings and fries. So, if you go out, order wings, blue cheese, whatever you want, and then order French fries. And that's what pretty much would come with the order, right? But instead, you get your wings, and you say, you know what? Let me have a side salad instead of the French fries.
Little changes.
Little hinges. You know, and that doesn't mean that you can't have French fries. But if you try to make, say, a shift like that Monday through Friday, and now you compound that over a month, and now you compound that
over the course of the year,
over 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then that doesn't mean that on a random Friday night, Saturday night, you didn't have French fries.
So your goal, too, is also don't totally deny yourself of it, because that, in turn, I think makes, like Angie and I, the three of us were talking earlier, and it's like, you know, when you force yourself to get away from whatever this is, it's like, yeah, I might be able to do it for this specified amount of time that we're going to do it, but once I fall off that wagon, it's a wrap.
And that's why folks were like, I lost 20 pounds and I gained back 30.
Right.
It's like, well, you know, so.
Because it wasn't sustainable.
Exactly. It wasn't real, you know, and if you like a certain thing, well then, I mean, have at it. But start to put in perspective of what's happening inside you. Why do you want all of this sugar? Why do you want all these sweets? Or why are you such a more salty starch person that you have to have bread, you have to have. And that's kind of what my book is really breaking things down, where it's like exposing, this is why you kind of are doing this, and now this is how you can kind of make, you know, just step off a little bit, and you incorporate it in, and then before you know it, it's part of your lifestyle. And that's the real key, is really sustaining a lifestyle. Even with exercise, I own a gym. I'm lucky to work out 3 times a week.
Right.
I have
That's
keys.
true.
I have keys.
You can go there anytime you want.
I'm envious of some of our members. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll coach the 5 o'clock class, and I got to get the hell out of there. I go pick up my son. And,
right, you have
and
life.
I see guys over there still, you know, now they're going to do something else. I'm like, man.
Now they want to do barbells after this, and you got to go.
I remember when I used to be able to do that. Now I got to, you know. But, you know,
life.
It's all good. But I'm going to make sure I get those 3.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's part of my lifestyle. If I get 4 in a week, great.
Hallelujah.
You know, and even if I get 2, I'm not going to beat myself up about it, because the following week, I might get 5 days in.
Okay.
You know, so that's kind of the, you know, I think what people should really look at when you look at health, fitness, training, and I have some tips in the book as well, is, you know, it's really looking at it from how can I make this into a thing that I want to do
for a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to lose X pounds, you know, I always recommend, even to my members and whatnot, you know, a lot of times we have a number on a scale. You know, I want to drop this, and then I'll look like Beyonce. When in all actuality, like, you should put a task to your fitness. So a goal could be, I want to be able to deadlift 200 pounds one time.
Right.
And then you stalk down the 200-pound deadlift versus I want to drop 20 pounds, and then you might drop 20, then you're looking at the mirror. It's like, man, I don't look like I thought I was going to look. And then you start going back to eating like, man, this doesn't work.
It's not worth it.
And then you go back off. Instead, have a year, 2 or 3 good year goals.
Okay.
And stalk them down. And then if you can pull that 200-pound deadlift, more than likely your physique probably changed.
Indeed.
You know, and that's kind of going back to that little hinges swing big doors.
Sounds good. We'll work on a new plan for me for 2018.
Yeah, you know,
injuries included and all. All right, so real quick, because we have about 2 more minutes. But I wanted, in addition to CrossFit Laurel and writing the book, you are also recently started on a new venture as well.
Yes.
And you got about a minute to tell everyone about it.
I'm a licensed realtor in Maryland. So if anybody out there want to buy, sell, invest, anything dealing with property in Maryland, you can feel free to reach out to me. Curtis Price Live is my website. You can email me, curtispricelive@gmail, or Curtis at Porterhouse International Realty Pros. Porterhouse International Realty is my brokerage.
Okay.
But again, that's another passion. I've been glued to HGTV, DIY Network.
Really?
For probably 20 years. Like, that's all I watch. Actually, my wife came in today. She was like, "It's so good you got your real estate license." I was sitting there with my laptop out, watching, home flippers, because I was doing this anyway.
Okay.
So
might as well bring some coin in for it.
I mean, I love it. I love homes.
Awesome. Well, shout out to Paula. She's the best.
Hey.
So, all right, let's give everyone the information on how they can get fit with CrossFit.
Go to CrossFitLaurel.com. When you go to the site, you'll see free intro or free. Click it, fill out information. One of our lovely coaches, it'll probably be our amazing Coach Carol or Coach
She's a
Marie.
rock star. She's a rock star as well.
We'll be reaching out to you, confirm a free intro. Come in. We always want people to try it because, like I was saying earlier, it's not for everybody.
It's not, and it's no commitment. You know what I mean? So you come in. It's not like they're going to make you fill out a whole bunch of forms and sign your life over to CrossFit Laurel. They want you to try it. The first class is absolutely free because they want you to know what you're getting into and see if you like it. You know what I mean? And then if you like it, which you will, more than likely, you'll keep coming back.
Love-hate relationship. It's
a lot of hate. A lot of hate when
the
the
results
workouts
are real.
Yes,
results are real.
That's
so
a
that
fair
waist starts getting snatched up.
That's a fair assessment, indeed.
Like, okay, they're killing me for a reason. It's working.
Yeah, the struggle's real. But thank you so much. I love you. Thank you so much for doing this with me. And make sure you guys check out CrossFit Laurel. Make sure you check out his book, which will be on Amazon in March.
Yes, I'm hoping by my birthday. That's my birthday. It'll be up on Amazon.
Yes.
March 13th is my birthday, so I'm hoping around there.
Okay, that's getting close.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. And then, of course, you can check him out in the real estate world as well. Thank you guys for joining us for another edition of What's Poppin', the podcast on KYS.